Hey everyone, Jim Gale here, Food Forest Abundance, and I'm here with Chad Johnson, and we're near Lake Superior up here in Duluth, Minnesota. And you're off-grid.
Yep, off-grid here up against the Spirit Mountain Park.
Yeah.
And we've done some earthworks and created our own little Eden here.
It's amazing. I mean, we'll show you the outside here as we go, but this cabin feels so beautiful. It's just got good energy.
Yeah.
And how much of the food that you eat do you grow here on site?
Maybe a quarter. I mean, definitely all our medicine, added value products. Yeah. It's definitely producing more every year.
That's great. How long have you been living here?
3 years, 4 years.
That's beautiful. Wow. And do you do any hunting?
We are wild harvesting, wild culturing just constantly.
Nice.
And a lot of this now is being poured out into the forest by birds and animals, but also the other way around. So things are coming in and going out. We have no perimeter fence. We don't irrigate.
Yeah.
It's set up by design just so everything is producing.
Oh my God. And you're talking about the trout stream. What are they doing with that and how's that working?
Yeah, government agencies are actually redoing trout streams here. They're seeing the value in them, and it looks like they're implementing them for farms and landowners. So yeah, we're looking at working with them. We've already gotten a wetland exemption from them. So
nice.
It's like things are moving forward on that front.
Wow. So can we go look at some of the foods you planted and design features?
Let's check it out.
Let's do it. All right. Should we do one take and then, or should we do several? All right. So show us around the design features and the different things you've done here.
All right. So this was a flat piece of land. And
really?
This was grass.
Yeah.
It was flat grass, Canary Grass, which is considered an invasive, obnoxious, aggressive weed.
Yeah.
But we used that to our benefit, and it became the organic core to these beds. So we're harvesting all water and sunlight three-dimensionally and storing water not just in the water features, but into the earth forms like sponges.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's your pattern, and show us some of the features in the ground here. So you laid down all the mulch and you started planting, and tell us a little more details on how that works.
Yeah, so you're looking at northern winds, blocking wind. You're looking at prevailing winds. You're also looking at the contours of the original land, so you can see where the lively earth is.
What's lively earth?
Lively earth is where the earth's blood, the water is.
Yeah.
So you're looking at where the water flows. You can look at a map, on your contour map, and you'll see these valleys where water naturally flows, and you're actually just holding the water, holding the life.
That's great. Creating swales on contour and sometimes directional. And
yeah. And then water features, you'll go more with prevailing winds because that'll bring in more air into your system. But yeah, you can create microclimates. You can create little heat bowls, crater gardens. There's so many ways you can do it. And a lot of this stuff is ancient, and a lot of it's brought up to speed with modern techniques. And these are being shared around the world just lately in history here, so it's pretty exciting.
And you worked with Sepp, is that right?
Yeah, Sepp Holzer of Austria.
Yeah.
And so he's a mile up in the Alps where it gets about 30, 35 below. But he actually is master of microclimates. I think he's the only one at 10 out of 10 on the Eco-Wheaton scale.
Wow. He's
He's done these in the Sahara Desert, but it's all about holding the water.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting back into the sandbox and you're learning from there. You're just kind of scaling it up to Eden size.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So, okay, can we do a little walk around? Okay.
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat. I love it.
And we can. Let's look in here.
Okay.
So a lot of this is perennial based, but a lot of our ground cover soil builders are also edible. And so right now we're going in here. This will be a future root cellar or just a cool spot to hang out. We've got...
Look at this amazing structure. That's so beautiful.
So if we're clearing an area, the birds and animals are planting out that hillside, I'd say 100,000 edible fruits, medicines, everything. I mean, the spectrum of it is incredible. And we can go look at that too. But then we'll use anything that we lop off and just use that as structures. We use it for trellises, and you'll see those when we go out there, but, having fun with it, playing with it, and not knowing exactly what you're gonna do. But just like I said, you're back in the sandbox, but you're living in it. You're
stacking functions, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this is just such a beautiful energy in and energy out.
Yeah, and you know, we're not doing too much after we've set this up.
Right. And talk about some of the different things, the basils, the tomatoes, the different things in here.
Yeah, so we kind of made this structure this year. We had one. A lot of times these structures will last 5 to 7 years. And then you can just renew it or whatever you want. And then we'll open it up with the broad fork just to bring a little air in and then for planting.
Yeah.
And then every year these tomatoes, we put them on the same spot every time. Normally they say to move them, and our experience has been they just get better. And then we're constantly picking basil. A lot of things like to be picked. When you're interacting in there, having that interaction actually stimulates that growth. If you think of like rhubarb or other things, holy basil, it's one of our favorite teas.
Oh my gosh. So I just had a thought. So if you were part of the divine, part of the source, the God of it all, wouldn't you want to create it so that if you needed something, the more you pick, the more you get? Right? That's what I just heard you say.
There is such a thing as a free lunch. And there's also a thing as a system that overproduces. I mean, more than 100%. You could think of it as you look out and you see what's been planted out. You could think of it 1,000, 10,000. Where does it stop? Because when you create the habitat, this was just grass. Now there's hundreds of species. Animals, predator and prey have moved in. We have deer, bear, wolves running through. It's gorgeous. We have free range animals, and we may see them on the tour here too.
Oh man,
There's
this is
one
so
little chicken here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can look over the maybe.
Yeah.
She's a
Oh,
rare
yeah.
chicken
We'll
because she's
follow
just
you.
tiny.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
One little chicken in there.
So I'm digging 5 feet down. There's worms.
5 feet down.
I'm just digging in. When we did the earthworks, I laid down these big slabs of cement so we could hit it for like a root cellar floor.
Yeah.
And I'm digging down. We're getting 5 feet down. I'm still hitting worms. So these take like a year to charge up with water. Once that's charged, that's your regulation. It's automatic because like a sponge, if there's too much water, it releases it. If there's not enough, it's going to hold on to it. And this is living mulch right here. So if you think of what's being exuded by the leaves, besides just hormones and other things, when a storm comes in, the sap goes down, the hormones are released. It's like a living atmosphere. And so you create the habitat in here. And a lot of these we didn't have to plant. There's some things like...
Talk about some of the species, the varieties.
Yeah, so we got Aronia here. And if you plant wisely, even though we've been hit by deer before, you just get better at it. And so there's certain ways we'll do it. We'll plant them inside of raspberries, what I like to call raspberriers, and you can kind of protect them.
Yes.
And then it also becomes a nursery, so your tree or whatever you got wants to vault up. And so when you have that, it's not bushing out more and you're getting to that range where it can just keep going up. This cherry tree planted itself like 5 years ago.
Wow.
So, and we're in Minnesota.
5 years ago.
Wow.
Look at that.
So you can see the beds, you know, and because it came from seed, it sends down a taproot. It's digging for nutrients, minerals, but it anchors in.
As opposed to a potted plant, which would not do that the same way?
We'll sometimes circle around or not find that taproot. Yeah, that main taproot going down. And you can actually get a peek at that too. And here's a groundhog hole.
Yeah.
There's your taproot.
Look at that. Look at that. Yep, we can see it.
Jeez, wow.
That is so awesome.
And then we have mugwort, wormwood, volunteer apples. And a lot of things we like spreaders, things that just keep going. Could either become edible or just more biomass.
Yep.
That living mulch, like I was saying. Mugwort is great. You can do bundles of these. Look at this bundle.
Yeah.
And then when it dries, you can smell the smoke. It's amazing. At the same time, it's insect control. So it's, you know, it's kind of bringing in beneficials. Yeah, there's so many things that are food and medicine.
Great for cooking fish in.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Fish,
fish. Got
fish
the
or red
trout
meats.
tons.
And you can do something at the bottom of your pan. That's like, think of it as a nest. And you can start incorporating different plants, cook your stuff in it, have your butter, oil, and just bring that flavor in.
Wow.
So great.
I'm just imagining that right now.
Yeah.
So, still a great tree, but it's older than that cherry, so you can see all these beds.
And look at the apples coming in. Yeah.
Yep, and there's a mixture, like a lot of these we didn't even plant, but we just let them go and they become, you know, for this kiwi coming in.
Yep.
Now you can see this kiwi, and then there's another kiwi here that ended up having this as volunteer. And so then you got this vine coming up. So that nursery.
Yep. Yep.
And then any trellises, I mean, hops are nice for trellising. You right away, you launch up, you know, it can go up to 30 feet, but all of a sudden you have a canopy, which becomes a nursery, which becomes, you know, bird landing. But that's what we did over here. This is the old site, probably 7 years ago, and we just took this down. This is hops, and you can see we have all this other living nursery material on both sides.
Wow.
There's, you know, we could take another,
Yep.
we probably took out 30 of them, and we still have maybe another 30. But then we're just starting to put other things in, like now we're seeing this little sea berry. You have currants that are helping nursery, and then it also helped these when they were babies. You have cornelian cherry, which is a kind of dogwood. Supposed to be zone 5, but you start to bump up those zones. We're blocking north winds.
Wow.
It's protected.
Plum?
This is a firecracker apple,
Oh, firecracker
Wow.
apple. Wow.
and this is Korean bushberry. Yeah, so these redder ones are pretty much ready. And then just mixture of rose, hawthorn, juneberry.
Juneberry, Koreanberry, rose, all right here.
Yeah, same thing. These milkweed are great
Oh, they're
for pollinators,
and medicine, right?
medicine, food. You know, you can even incorporate these into like a patty too. Or when they're shoots, they're like asparagus for eating. So,
That is so amazing.
you know, we didn't have to plant these. So,
And look at the, I mean, I have been around Minnesota my whole life. I don't remember seeing anything where all this stuff was in one concentrated area ever. Like, it's so amazing.
yeah, you can design it like that on these, especially these slopes.
Uh-huh.
And then that creates, it starts to make this more dynamic.
Yep,
too.
so self.
So there's no boundaries here. Even beyond our land, it doesn't stop there. And there's plenty of little fruit trees coming in.
Yeah.
They're spotted around here. There's one. There's your monarch.
Now, okay, let's say you just left this be right now and you put no more inputs in, no more of your own energy. What would happen?
You'll probably just keep producing more. Some things might get overcrowded, and we will take things out before they go to seed if we want. You know, we use a scythe and we mostly just do these paths. But you're also, when you cut, your roots are sloughing off. So you can kind of slowly control it and steer it where it's going.
Wow. And how much time a day or a month do you think, if you just wanted to maintain this and do that, how long would that take a week or a month?
You know, it's different times. When we're harvesting, we could be out here for 30, 45 minutes picking, you know, berries or fruit.
Yeah. And
Um,
harvesting, because I don't count harvesting in the creation, because you got to harvest somewhere. Most people have to go to work. They get 20, 30, 40, whatever they get per hour, and then they have to use that money to go buy food at the grocery store, which has been picked 2 weeks before it's ripe, and most of the time grown with poisons, right? So now you're talking about harvesting and actually turning that into an asset instead of a liability.
Exactly. And the more dense you kind of grow that and your system starts going more, like on these surfaces, they fill in quicker, so you're having to do less. And we'll take some out and just plant it somewhere else if it's something we really want.
So it's all about design and thoughtful design. And then we see, folks, this is the dawning of the new age. We are going to be in paradise in the years to come, because this kind of knowledge, thank you, Chad, so much, designing the demonstration for the future of our world that literally is like the idea of the Garden of Eden. And we're in northern Minnesota, my friends. There's no reason not to do this anywhere, right?
Exactly.
All right, keep going. What else you got?
All right, let's go behind you and see what's going on. All right, these should be a little thorny. These
Okay.
are sea berries.
Sea berries, yep. Got that.
And so this is kind of part of the deer deterrent. Not only the bed, but you're creating a thorny barrier.
Oh wow, you got a wall of thorns.
So they're not going to go through here.
Are these? Look at this.
Oh yeah,
Are they right?
it might be. They can get darker, but yeah, Russian current.
That's pretty good.
Really
Yeah, the
dark.
blacker the better.
That's yep, Russian currant. Oh, I picked one.
What they say, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah.
And then like 5 kiwis back here.
Look at that.
And this is in the shade, you know.
Wow.
It gets partial sun, but
Look at that.
there's many different kinds of Arctic and hardy kiwi. And these also make a great trellis. That's why we just started these out there.
I call this a food forest, y'all. Oh my gosh.
Yep. And if you get into
Yeah.
like 5-7 years after
Wow.
maturing, then you're going to be getting, especially full sun, 50 to 100 pounds of fruit. And then you can just smell it.
Yes, it smells amazing. It's like a sweetness. Wow.
Yeah. And then we just have 1 male down here to every 7 females, and then they pollinate each other.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. And this is blizzard mock orange up here. This got done flowering, but this was just white.
Wow, that smell good.
Butterflies and bees everywhere.
Too. Yeah, now I
Yeah.
can really smell that.
Pollinators I don't even recognize anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we
Head
go
back
back
on
this
it?
way.
Yeah.
Okay. You said pollinators that you don't even recognize. Like there's so many varieties.
Yeah, we had an entomologist out here from the U of M, or UMD. Yeah.
I think I think you heard it.
Pictures of something starting to lie. We just had a rare bird from Asia
What?
here.
Careful of that.
Came to visit?
Yeah.
No freaking way. How does that? So did that get away? Did that? I mean, obviously.
Species are moving along with plants and animals.
Wow.
I think a lot of this stuff
Oh, that
is
smells
moving.
amazing too.
We said an Egyptian moth, looking moth, coming through just one evening.
Everywhere. This is going to be everywhere in the future, like this kind of stuff, because it just makes sense.
You can create it, and it creates value. You know, not just in your life or your health, but your land. And this can be done in town. You can take a backyard plot, sink it down, and terrace it down. Just know where your lines are, electric and plumbing. You can build retention walls, and by the time you're in there and it's growing, frogs, insects, everything will move in. If you create it, it will move in, and then pretty soon you don't even know you're in town. You're just surrounded by green, you're surrounded by those sounds. Yeah.
The beautiful music of nature, the sights, the smell. It smells so sweet right here.
Yeah, it's very healing. You're starting to like breathe it in. It's like living atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what they say, get some fresh air.
Yeah, this is it. This is the freshest air I've ever smelled, maybe.
Definitely a lot better than the air in St. Paul.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh my God.
Should we go check it out down there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go do it.
All right, I'll let you lead the way.
Yeah, and so as far as food, medicine, or added value, you know, there's so many routes you can go. So you're just kind of fitting it to your lifestyle also.
Right.
Every piece of land's different, every person's different.
Yeah.
And then you can pick and choose. And pretty soon your palette opens up and you're pulling up tubers.
Yeah.
And things are planting themselves. So it's pretty much, you know, depending on who you are and what your dream is, you can pretty much look at the advantages of your land, hold the water, plant it out. And the other benefit of doing it in this style is that when you're done doing the earth forms, the earth is soft. So it's not only ready to receive the rain, it's going to receive the seeds.
Yeah.
So you're planting the rain, at the same time you're planting those seeds, and all the air has been brought into the system, and it ramps up.
You're designing your own Garden of Eden or Garden of Paradise.
What took generations and generations now can be done quickly with a lot of the same machinery that came in and dug.
Yeah.
Can dig our way out in the future. It's like
Exactly.
forward escape.
Yep. Forward escape is such a. I've never heard that, but I love that. I'm stealing that one. And look at the beauty of it. Yeah, boy, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and this is the grape trellis, so this will last, another 7 years or something. And we can bring in a permanent one or redo it or do something different. So it's pretty much, whatever you're aiming to do.
And when do the grapes, when do you harvest this
They'll probably
variety?
be ready closer to early fall, mid-fall.
Yep.
And we do a lot of wine, but we also bring in the currants, the raspberry. This is the champagne currant up here, but there's probably hundreds of currants that have just, I could say self-seeded, but birds coming in and planting out.
Yeah.
And they go out into there. So all that just keeps going up. Yeah. And you can look at it as, more to harvest, or it can be your living nursery. We just traded with a friend a bunch of trees for some currants. And yeah, let's go take a look at this currant over here, because you see these are honeyberries, but you can see everything's filled in. We're doing a little bit of weeding, but once this stuff is up and established, then it's pretty much filled in.
Right.
Yeah, so this is champagne currant, but this is what I was talking about. These are rooted in. On these terraces, the fruit gets heavy, it falls down, of course it's getting bigger, and once it comes down and touches, it plants itself and comes up. And you can do that layering with vines, you can do it with an apple tree. You lay a lower branch down, you put soil over it the next year or year after, you have another fruit tree. You can take a
Raspberries,
vine.
blackberries, right?
Yep.
And what else? What were you gonna say?
Yeah, kiwi, a ton. Roses, gooseberry. And so you could take, the vines are easy because they're flat. You can lay them down like that wisteria over there, and you could just cover them up here, cover them up there, and pretty soon you have a bunch of plants. And so that's called serpentine layering.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And we do a lot of these peonies. We have like 20 some. Those are for, we do a bunch of medicinal lotions, salves.
Oh, where can we, before I don't want to forget this, do you want to talk about any website or how anybody can order that stuff from you?
Oh, sure, yeah. We just put up a website called naturesmylover.com, and Robin does a ton of medicines. It's, pretty much the gamut. Yeah. And the results for people with skin and other stuff has been like same thing, wide spectrum. And there's some pretty amazing ingredients. Yeah, so naturesmylover.com. And we can look more into that if you want to.
Okay, cool. We'll put a link.
Yep.
So
Look at that beauty.
Wow.
this was originally a wooden trellis. And when this came down, then we're like, okay, everything's established and rooted in.
Yeah.
We put in the cattle panel, some T-posts, and this is the first year's growth. So this is 6 weeks of growth.
Wow.
What? I would have thought that was a couple of years. Wow, that's good soil right there. Good energy.
Yeah, and the worms, if you dig around, it's worms everywhere. They inhabit these. And, it takes in the rain, so they follow that in. We have a baby robin being born in here,
Mm-hmm.
but we did some of that serpentine with this grape.
Yep.
This is a Minnesota wine grape, Frontenac. And then we could just take it again, and every time we could bring it down to the ground and cover it up.
Absolutely amazing.
Now here's a fresh one. We didn't do any wooden thing here, but we're like, well, we got 30 hops. So we've now buried 30 hop vines and pretty much waiting. But see how the nursery isn't around here? If we did we could put in other taller things to come in. Now we're building that protection, that nursery. And this, I should say, this area is pretty much, we've been working this way. This is all clay.
Wow, so you've got 5 feet of soil over here and mostly all
over
clay
here, yeah.
And it was all clay, right?
Yeah, this is pretty much clay.
Wow.
Up to this bed over wasn't, but this whole area was clay. Robin came in and started putting in clay living things like clover and especially this comfrey and different dynamic accumulators. They dive down, they start pumping up nutrients and minerals, it drops down the leaves, and then suddenly you're changing the soil. And it's habitat for spiders, insects, everything else.
Tell us about the idea of weeds as looked upon by the normal U.S. citizen.
Yeah, it's kind of a veiled thing, and you can even take the word invasive.
Yeah.
That's also a veiled thing, so it's all perspective. Mark Shepard said, you know, when you hear the word invasive, what do you think of? To fight.
Yeah.
Fight. You're being invaded.
Yep.
Yeah, and it can be invaded by food too. It's all how you want to look at it.
It's like a marketing. Weeds is a marketing term, so you get you to buy poisons, right? It's
Yeah. It's a $1 billion industry. It's definitely a moneymaker. Check out David Theodoropoulos. I had a chance to sit down with him and talk to him. We just happened to meet in the Redwoods. I had no idea I was talking to him. I was like, oh, it's you. And so we had time to just sit down and talk, and we were both exchanging ideas. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all how you frame it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And there's no accidents in the universe either. Like that was
No.
meant to be, I think. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, pick a weed and look it up, and then all of a sudden you find out it's medicinal.
Yeah.
Same with this reed canary grass, which there's some of it around here still. It's like one of the highest concentrations of DMT on the planet. And they said we'd never get rid of it. They give us money to poison it,
Yeah.
and we took it, and it became the organic core of these beds. So it was the beginning. It's kind of like this dreaming core of this landscape.
So then I'm going to go where I go, right? Why would they give you money to poison one of the best psychological tools for humanity given to us by the divine? Why would they take out, you know, I won't even say them because I'm getting censored all over the place, but you know what I'm talking about. If they say it's poisonous and they give you something to kill it, I'll use dandelions for an example. Then it's probably really good for you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
funny how that works. We're coming out of the dark ages. Huh?
Yeah, we are. We're coming to the light.
Yeah, so this is just starting to get taken over. There's a bunch of little trees that if we come back here, you'll just see that canopy is raising up. You can cut this comfrey. It's a Bach 13, so it's a special kind. It doesn't go by seed, it goes by root and produces a ton of biomass. It has a neutral effect on the soil instead of a little acidic effect.
Yeah.
And you get a ton of it. So you can start mulching
Look
out.
at all that
you
biomass.
can start mulching it out. And it's medicinal, it's healing, edible as a young leaf, also put into lotions. It's an incredible plant, and it just keeps producing.
That's just so cool.
Chad, what is this plant with the red flowers right there?
This is borage or monarda or bee balm.
Nice.
Yeah, and this red one's the native one.
And what is the use of that?
Bee balm,
Yeah.
you can use it as a tea. Also, it's medicinal. Robin probably could give you a full spectrum.
It's best for pollinators.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
Cool, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
What a function beauty is,
Yeah.
right? That's the only function that our system has been twisted everybody's mind to think beauty is a monochromatic plant that provides no food, no smell. I mean, it's the lawn, right? Come on, folks, it's time.
It's time. Yep.
it's time.
And we have nettle.
Yeah, it's a
And this will
medicinal.
just, yeah, and it'll just keep improving your soil. Here's a rescue pear tree.
3 years in, my friends, and this is just, you could live off the food you produce here probably within fairly soon, I bet.
If we harvested everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of these we're letting go. This was a pink lady from seed. Robin took a bite of an apple. There was the seeds, and they already had tails coming out. So put them in a little pot for a while. Then she put them out, and now these two are going. And then you notice things to like deter deer.
Wow. So you planted
Surrounded.
this stuff as a,
And this stuff
A
actually
living-
planted itself, and we just let it go.
yeah, I gotcha.
Yep,
That
and
makes
then
sense.
you kind of like can dig in
Yeah.
and then have it be around here.
That's
And then potatoes, so you can kind of pick spots that you're going to start taking over
Yeah.
and start replanting. Potatoes is a good pioneer one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Karina and her husband were just here, and they said, I can't believe we don't have any potato bugs. Yeah, and so we put these in and pretty much haven't had to touch them.
Wow, no potato bugs. A lot of people are so worried about bugs in their system and diversity. Okay, I'll let you answer this. Why aren't there potato bugs here?
Yeah, it is the diversity. The diversity is kind of the polyculture, and you could think of it as a brain or the imagination that's going on under the soil.
Wow.
Because the same neurons you have in your brain that are contained by the skull are actually flowing underground. You can call it Gaia, you can call it God's source of creation keeps going.
Mycelium.
Mycelium's another good one.
Yeah.
Mycelium can send and bring nutrients and information for miles, depending on how long it is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it holds moisture. It makes beneficial connections with other roots. But yeah, because of that connection with everything else and this same flow form for water to regulate itself, creates really healthy plants.
That is so
They
neat.
look great.
Wow. Beautiful field.
Yeah, this was clay. And this is what, if you saw those cattails back there,
Mm-hmm.
you can start to read the landscape with greener plants. If you're looking at a field of grass, you see a greener stripe or a little flow. That's kind of reading underground. It's part of that contour. Just seeing that, this is definitely a water area. So it's welling up. There's bedrock all over. Like this lady's got a 700-foot well. This one has a 23-foot well. So you can kind of see the
Wow,
dramatic
yeah.
drops in the bedrock, but then it's holding water and those aquifers are coming up. And that's one of those spots. So that's a great place to start a pond because also there's clay.
Yep.
And there's your clay bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the beginning of your waterway. You could lobe out for a turtle sanctuary, come through, and then just like that little pond that's over here,
Uh-huh.
we're looking at a bigger pond
Uh-huh.
coming out to the end of this pasture.
Uh-huh.
And there's more water veins that come through here. So can you see the heads of those grass?
Yep. And
That's
look at
a
how
sign of
beautiful
water.
that is. Okay.
Yeah, and this was all this reed canary grass. And now all these plants are moving out. We imagined planting a conifer forest here just as a little privacy barrier from the neighbors. And so we had 300 white pine and maybe 70 other spruce and conifers. And we brought them over. When we got out here, nature had already started doing that right in the same spot.
No.
And so we added to what they had already started. But yeah, whether they read our minds or not, it's a good place for them.
I do not doubt that our minds can be read by source, by the divine. This is so
So yeah, you
amazing.
can see that grass. You can see the heads of that grass.
Yeah.
That water is coming right over from that rock pile. And so it comes down. It may have split from over there into these two areas that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And the rocks being, down deep, just generations of Finnish farm kids piling these rocks forever, and we use some of it to create our system. That creates a dark, cold place, and water likes to be dark, cold, and moving.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. The dark. It keeps it. From growing.
Yeah, or just shade. Shade helps it too. So, and then you have a better quality of water, and your food is going to taste like the quality of your water, and your system will reflect that too.
And we put in like 50 hickory, 50 hazelnut.
Wow.
What else did we put out here? Hazelnut, hickory,
Yeah,
borknut,
hackberry, horse chestnut,
seaberry, some
Yeah.
seaberry.
a ton of trees out here,
Holy
and
cow.
300 white pines.
And 300 white pines. So a windbreak and a buffer, privacy.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yep. And we harvest a lot of pine pollen. That's a great one for men. But we can look at like the hops for women, or that archangelica that you see around, and we can look at that too. It's amazing how almost everything is medicine, And so for kidneys, the goldenrod, I'm looking forward to goldenrod coming out. And then there's that. You can make tea.
Right.
We mix it with either mate or something else. Right
Yeah.
now we have mate and holy basil, just cold brewing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh my god.
that's delicious.
So
Well-
there's yerba mate, but you're talking about a different plant because I don't know
Yerba mate.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
yerba mate.
It is yerba mate.
You could
yeah.
grow that here.
No, we mix
yeah, I
it. We
gotcha.
get it. We mix it in with
Gotcha.
ours.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it has about 10 times the phytonutrients of green tea, I think. Or
Right.
Something like it was exorbitant. It was a big difference. I know I looked
Wow.
it up, and
And we're growing a lot of that at Gauss Landing too.
Oh, really?
A lot of yerba mate.
Oh, nice.
it's really good. I mixed it
Oh,
with
I
mint.
can't wait to have you down there and
Yeah.
show you and help and get your ideas and your thoughts. It'd be a pleasure if I could get you down.
It would be cool to, yeah, create one of these water feature systems with terraces, and people feel like they've gone down back thousands of
Aztec,
years,
Mayan,
just everything growing, and then they're just like, oh wait,
Yeah.
this.
Well, especially gults, because you're 30 minutes from the airport,
Yep.
but when you're there,
Yep.
it's like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, it's like you're completely,
Yeah.
there's no city around.
Right. There's one house on this private
Yeah.
430
Oh, cool.
acre lake.
One lake,
Besides our
and
those
yeah.
things,
Yeah, and
so-
if there's a lake there, you know, even just a river, and you're finding different bends,
Yeah.
and oh, there's a water vein that just didn't come up. Yeah, you can find these things.
Yeah, so-
Even these ancient remnants of cultures, whether it's the pyramids around the world or different structures, these are just the bones of ancient societies.
Mhm.
And if we can see their living systems, you know, if we can imagine them, they're possible, you know. It's all built on water and then just wise design.
Man, I am so thankful that we met and that you showed us your amazing homestead here. And we want to share your knowledge with as many people as possible.
That'd be great. I love what you do.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Check us out. Chad Johnson, again, your website,
naturesmylover.com.
naturesmylover.com. What a great name. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day. And we'll be talking a lot more and bringing a lot more wisdom to you.